This is a read through of CPC truck scenario 8. I hope it helps, and after this I'll put up a few Kahoots multiple choice quizzes so you can practice questions that will come up in the CPC on truck CPC scenario 8. I hope it helps. Enjoy. This is truck case study 8, and this is Lorraine. Today Lorraine was going to drive her 3-axle rigid truck fitted with a freezer full of containers of potato scone dough from Dublin to Barcelona. She looked forward to this journey because she had just finished 2 weeks holiday at home. So she wanted to get away from the holiday and looking forward to the journey. That makes sense. Lorraine knew this was an international journey, so she brought her previous tachograph charts for the days she had worked, 28 days plus a day working. She was also given a letter of attestation. Remember I explained the letter of attestation? It says that you have the right, if you're not from Europe and you work in a fellow member state, they will say you don't have the right to work from this country, and you say no, I'm working from Ireland, I just happen to be driving in Spain or France, wherever it is, and you get that letter from your employer, and that is a letter of attestation testifying that you have the right to work. So she was also given a letter of attestation by her employer. She had all the vehicle documentation, including the correct operator's license that she had got 4 years ago. Okay.
Huh?
Yeah, it does make sense, because if she's an operator, then she's her own employer, isn't she?
She's the owner, isn't she?
Sorry?
Is she the owner if she got an operator's license?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's the owner. She got the letter from herself, the letter of attestation,
Yeah.
years ago. And the European insurance. How long does her operator's license last?
5 years.
5 years. So she's got a year left of it. European insurance accident report form. While she was on holiday, her truck was serviced, so she did not check her vehicle before using it. Is that okay?
No.
Of course it's not. You do a walk around every day. Since the mechanic should have checked it. She did check the freezer though, because she had been caught before with a faulty freezer and all of the frozen goods had to be thrown away. Lorraine's customer was Sorcha Scones, as a well-known distributor of frozen potato scone dough to local markets. Her journey was taken her to Bice's, a small bakery in Barcelona. The loading bay staff took special precautions while loading Lorraine's truck. The potato dough was in containers, stacked on wooden pallets and wrapped in sheeting. Then they strapped the containers to the pallets and secured the pallets to the truck. Well, that sounds well packed. The loaders parked the truck in the yard and joined it to an electrical connection to keep the freezer at the correct temperature. After collecting the truck from the yard, Lorraine drove to Dublin Port, boarded the ferry and used a driver bunk and meal voucher. The ferry arrived in Holyhead. Lorraine knew she had no time to waste in getting to Dover to catch another ferry to Calais. Her truck was one of the first off the ferry. She drove through the customs without delay and onto a clear road. Her journey to Dover began at 10:30 and took her along the A5 into the M6, and she had heard from other drivers on the ferry that there were roadworks. So she started at 10:30. While travelling through the Contraflow roadworks on the M6, a traffic patrol car pulled Lorraine over, and the police officer asked if she was aware that her rear light cluster was not working properly. When indicating, her brake light flashed, and when she used her foot brake, one indicator and a fog light lit up. The police officer also noticed that the fuel cap was missing. A good mechanic she has, isn't it? And the vehicle plate was not attached to the vehicle. Rather, the plate had been stored loosely in the passenger door pocket. So the police officer gave her a vehicle prohibition notice to Lorraine. Okay. Fortunately, the officer allowed her to drive away in the truck. No working lights, the plate in the door, the petrol cap missing, and the police officer gave her a prohibition notice, which means you can't drive until those things are fixed, and then allowed her to drive away. Okay. Because she was running late for Dover, however, she would not drive over the speed limit, as there are several enforcement cameras. Not because it's against the law, but because there's cameras on the M25, which had a goods vehicle speed limit of 60 miles per hour, 96k. After driving for 10 minutes, a bird dropped down into the traffic in front of Lorraine's truck. She braked and swerved to avoid hitting it. The truck almost tipped over, but Lorraine's quick thinking, she swerved and almost totaled the truck but now they're saying she's got quick thinking. And driving experience kept the truck on all of its tyres. Once back on the road, she noticed that the truck was slightly slanted to the right. When she pulled over to the side of the road, she discovered that the right front tyre was flat. She phoned a depot who got a company to replace the tyre, and with the help of a professional tyre fitter, she got back onto the roadway. I'd done that once, I told you, didn't I? Front tyre burst, and I called out a guy who was like 20 minutes away. He charged me €300, and this was about maybe 10 years ago. Charged me €300 to replace the tyre. What can you do when you have a bus full of passengers? Lorraine finally arrived in Dover at 7:15 after driving 610 kilometres from Holyhead. That's non-stop.
No break.
So what's that, about 8 hours drive?
Yeah.
And caught a ferry to Calais. Once in France, she drove on to Troy. Am I pronouncing that right? Troy. A journey lasting almost 4 hours. Following her minimum rest period, she drove 1,000 kilometres to Barcelona without stopping. At 100 kilometres per hour non-stop, that would take 10 hours. So I'm guessing that's a 12-hour drive without stopping. Probably more. When she arrived at the bakery, she parked the truck and went to a hotel for a well-deserved rest. The next day at the bakery, it took 8 hours to unload the truck. What? 8 hours to unload the truck? It's on pallets.
Because they don't have forklift.
Sorry?
Unload the truck because there was no forklift.
There's no. Oh yeah, I read none. So yeah, but even so, 8 hours.
No, I know a fella did a trailer load in like 45 minutes, plasterboard.
Yep.
Him and his brother.
I've loaded many a truck with many a different. If there was, I don't care if there was 16 pallets. I think how many pallets they said I didn't. So I don't care if there was 16 pallets in it to tear the shrink wrap off and unload the boxes individually. If there was 2 of you, it still wouldn't take more than an hour. 8 hours, I'd sack everybody on the loading bay. Anyway, there's no forklift. On the return journey, Lorraine was feeling tired and took a short nap after driving 800 kilometres. So that'd be 10 hours at 80 kilometres an hour non-stop. But obviously, you wouldn't be doing 80 kilometres non-stop. So that's another 10, 11 hours she drove there. She caught the ferry to Dover, and during the crossing, she realised she had broken the on the crossing, she realised she'd broken the tachograph rules. That whole 12-hour non-stop driving thing. She took an old chart and changed the date to suit this journey. What do we call that?
Fraud.
It is fraud, but that specific crime was altering with intent to deceive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Eventually, she got off the ferry and drove down a long, steep hill to join the motorway for Holyhead. What would you use on a long, steep hill? What can you use?
The retarders.
Yeah, the retard, the endurance brake. She had a 3-hour delay at Holyhead before the ferry left for Dublin. Once on board the Dublin ferry, she replaced the real tachograph disc with a false one. After leaving Dublin port, she met a multi-agency roadside check. An RSA transport officer checked her tachograph chart and noticed it had been changed. It was a very stressful day for Lorraine.
Poor Lorraine.
Poor Lorraine, yeah. Driving 12 hours at a time, fiddling with the tachograph card. Yeah, I'd say it's a very stressful day. Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel. And like and subscribing to my channel helps other people like you find them. I'm Leon Clifton.